Hello and welcome to the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars in Washington, D.C. I'm John Molesky, host of Dialogue. We're on the set of Dialogue, as we are each week. And this week I'm joined by three veteran analysts, journalists, diplomats. They've served in a variety of roles in the Middle East. They know this region about as well as any three people you could put in the same room. David Ottaway, Aaron Miller, Barbara Slavin. And I want to ask you a question that we didn't cover in our longer discussion, and that is this maybe self-indulgent U.S. focus on the president's response. That's one of the things we always talk about. How did he do? So we'll do the Obama report card. Barbara?
Well, he didn't do very well on Egypt, in my view. He was out there too soon and too much, putting his own face. You know, every time Mubarak would go on TV, then Obama would go on TV. At a time when we didn't know what was going to happen, I thought it was amateurish. He has pulled back a bit with some of these other disputes and uprisings that we've seen, and I think that's prudent, although, frankly, I would have liked to have seen him a little bit more on Libya. I think he's been too reticent on Libya.
I think he talked too much, but when you're a potentially transformative president, that's the way you think of yourself.
Don't they say that about him in many issues? He talks too much.
Then you want to respond to every momentous event in a transformative way. But I think he juggled three balls pretty well. He identified the United States with the forces of progressive peaceful change on the streets. He did not make America the central part of the story, the Wisner mission notwithstanding. And number three, without calling for Mubarak's ouster, which I think would have been unseemly and not very effective, he did help, I suspect, in easing this transition. So I think that the balls were juggled pretty well, and given the fact that I don't think he had any cards, or at least a very bad hand, I think he played them pretty well.
David?
I would judge that it was really, his performance was rather awkward. Couldn't decide whose side they should be on when. And my main concern is that Egyptians will remember that Osama was not with them when Obama was not with them when they needed him most. He was still saying, well, we need the Mubarak to make the transition.
Even though you've given him some credit, Aaron, the awkwardness that all of you describe on some level, whether it's talking too much or the more distinct examples, is this sort of in the microcosm, the problem of America's role in the region, period? I mean, does this reflect the reality accurately, the president's response? As
Aaron has said, we have to juggle a lot of conflicting priorities, and you know, it's very difficult with a wave like this to surf it, you know, and not get swamped by it.
Yeah, this is my favorite subject. We're a modern-day Gulliver, tied up by tiny tribes who don't share our interests, and when they're not tying us up, we're tied up by our own illusions and our own domestic politics. And I think we become, sadly, a weak friend and a weak foe. And for a superpower, that is a very bad place to be.
One quick final thought. I'll play off your sleight of hand there, the wrong term that you used when you said Osama instead of Obama. The misspelling. What about Al-Qaeda? Is this what does this say for them? Is this good news, bad news?
I think it's bad
to be
news.
Determined?
It's really bad news. There's a new narrative now underway in the Arab world, and Osama is not part of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thank you. And if you'd like to hear more from our guests, then why wouldn't you? Come to our website, www.wilsoncenter.org. Look at the upper right-hand side of the screen. You'll see a tab for Dialogue. If you click there, you could find your way to a complete 30-minute interview. Thanks.